In addition to groups that are blatantly satanic, there are also many recordings which some believe may contain satanic references in the form of backward messages.
What's a popular song that has a reference to the devil in it?
Chris Edmonds is a Detroit disc jockey
Stairway to Heaven.
whose specialty is finding secret recorded messages exhorting the devil by playing music popular with kids in reverse, a technique they've learned to use.
Okay, the phrase we're looking for is, and there's still time to change the road you're on.
Now flip it for us.
Okay. A lot of people hear the phrase, my sweet Satan, here when they play this backwards.
My sweet Satan. How often do you find heavy metal music indicators at the scene of a crime involving satanic worship?
Probably about 35-40% of calls.
Regularly, then?
Yes.
This artwork is from a homicide case that combined heavy metal music with self-styled Satanism. It's the work of 18-year-old Scott Waterhouse, a so-called Satanist whose drawings clearly show he had murder on his mind. He's now serving a life prison term for the slaying of 12-year-old Giselle Cody. Before this case, officers here at the local police station in Sanford, Maine, had never even heard about satanic crimes. But that's all changed. The officer who broke the case was State Detective Mo Olette.
When you reached the crime scene, what did you find?
When I reached the crime scene, the local police had cordoned the area off, showed me the bank and where the young lady was found. She was probably killed right there at that particular area. She was strangled.
Waterhouse was seen leaving the crime scene, and in a deposition, when he was later questioned by Officer Olette, he seemed almost proud to boast, "I'm a Satanist." Waterhouse also described how he first became involved in it. In a bookstore, my friend hit the shelf and a book fell out, and I caught it, and it had a pretty weird-looking guy on the back. The book was the Satanic Bible by Anton LaVey. After Scott Waterhouse's trial, both the prosecution and the victim's father claimed that although the Satanic Bible did not condone violence, Waterhouse had interpreted it that way.
The book made you feel, do what you want to do, and the heck with everybody else, more or less. And I believe that that had a lot to do with it.
It tries to make itself innocuous. But if you actually read it and believe it to the letter, it's a very dangerous manifesto.
The author of the Satanic Bible, Anton LaVey, is a former lion tamer and palm reader who in 1966 founded the First Church of Satan. It quickly became the country's most prominent satanic organization, fully protected as a religion under the law.
This is a very selfish religion. We believe in greed, we believe in selfishness, we believe in all of the lustful thoughts that motivate man because this is man's natural feeling. This is based on what man naturally would do.
The Church of Satan and other organized devil worship groups represent our second category, religious Satanists. Although LaVey would not talk to us, we can get a glimpse of his theories and his rituals in this 1970 documentary on his church.
We feel a person should be free to indulge in all of the so-called fetishes that they would desire, as long as they don't hurt anyone that doesn't deserve or wish to be hurt. Hail Satan! Hail Satan! We perform human sacrifices by proxy, you might say, the destruction of human beings who would, let's say, create an antagonistic situation towards us in the form of curses and hexes, not in actual blood rituals, because certainly the destruction of a human being physically is illegal.
Police we spoke to say they have never made a link between this satanic church and the satanic crimes being committed. However, some incidents described to us by witnesses from around the country are strikingly similar to these ritualistic scenes. For example, the ritualistic embracing of death, actually being placed inside a coffin containing a body.
Lo, you are free to end it when you will.
Or ritualistic sacrifice, using a voodoo-type doll to place a curse on an unsuspecting victim. It's nothing that can be called physically harmful or illegal.
Almighty Satan, destroy those who love God.
Although not connected to the Church of Satan, these 12-year-old boys, with their parents' consent, demonstrated how they were taught to inflict pain on their enemies. They also claimed they witnessed sacrificial murder by members of our third category of Satanism, satanic cults.
Pray for us,
Police have found no proof, made no arrest. But that's no surprise. For nationwide, police are hearing strikingly similar horror stories, and not one has ever been proved. Take, for example, this case, the mother of a young victim who asked not to be identified.
Usually they have the children kill the infants or the other kids.
The children who were there actually
Right.
were given knives?
Yes, they were. And if they refused to do it, an adult, usually the child's father or mother, would actually take the child's hand and make them kill the child.
There's also this similar case that links child sex abuse with murder.
The children were given knives and told to go and stab those bodies. And my grandchildren told me that they couldn't do that, that it wasn't possible, that they could only get the knives to go in about that far. And then the adults put their hands over the children's hands and shoved the knives in.
Was there any reference to the devil?
No.
Yes.
And this case now under police investigation involving young boys describing murder.
Tell me what you were asked to do.
I was asked to stab him.
To stab him. And this was in front of the other people who were there? Were you given a knife?
Yes.
And were you told what would happen to you if you didn't?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what they said?
This will happen to you.
So you either stab him or you'll be stabbed was about what it came down to. When the oldest boy describes stabbing him with a knife, what's his reaction?
It's a hard thing for him to say. He's been more apt to act it out.
Do you remember his eyes?
With their guardian's consent, the boys used a doll to illustrate what they did.
You say you were given the knife, and then what did you do?
Go like this.
Did you push the knife all the way in deep, or did you just touch the skin?
All the way in deep.
In deep. Were you in the room where this was going on? Did you see what happened to the child that was stuck with the knife?
Yeah.
What do you remember?
Or blood.
Ritualistic murder has become a specialty for San Francisco's chief medical examiner.
Are local investigators really prepared, equipped? Do they know what to look for when investigating these cases?
No, I don't think they do. Even though many different people are trying to get out the message about ritualistic or funny types of killings, first of all, just on their face value, they sound so unusual or bizarre that most people hearing that message really don't think that it's true.